What's going on, boys? It is Noah Dietrich here, coming with you guys to do my 2020 in the bag. So this is something I've never actually done. I see a lot of people actually do them. For people who follow certain individuals, I don't have really a following. I just thought it'd be kind of fun to do a 2020 in the bag for you guys and start a YouTube channel around disc golf. So getting into my bag, I throw a lot of purple, as you guys can see. My bag is very vibrant, it's very unique and very different. But getting into the stuff that I throw. So first off, I have PA3 Prodigy putters in 300 plastic. These are my main putters. I do have a putting putter, and then I have a throwing putter. So this is something I'll rip off the tee or for a nice clean upshot. And then last but not least, out of my putters, I have a PA3 300 soft. This is something I have not thrown too much because it is wintertime here in northern Michigan, so it just feels like a normal PA3. But I want to see how it flies for like upshots and stuff like that during summertime. So I have PA3s up top for my putting putters. If you guys have recommendations to what I could change in Discraft, please let me know, because I am trying to go all Discraft. I only have 3 discs in this entire bag that are not Discraft. And if you guys have recommendations, please let me know. So getting into my first, so I have consistently mid-ranges and drivers in here. I carry more mid-ranges and like fairway drivers than I do actually drivers, because I throw very few drivers. I don't have a whole big selection. But getting into my first disc, I have a Dynamic Disc EMAC Truth in a Burst Fusion. I like the disc for more or less a nice overstable finish. I like them more or less because they feel good in my hand, and it's more of a fairway driver than anything to me. And I like to pull this off the tee for very short 200, 250 foot holes. But if you guys have recommendations to what I could switch for Discraft that has a low profile brim, not a very deep dish, and does not have a really big fat bead to it, please let me know. I would love to switch out this disc for a Discraft mid-range. Getting into my next one, I have a Buzz SS. And I like the Buzz SS because I have smaller hands, we should say. I've got very small hands, so the deep dish or deep brim mid-ranges, they get stuck on my fingers, and I grip lock them and I throw them out. But I have a Buzz SS. Getting into my next one. Now this is kind of a must if you're a big Discraft fan. Everyone should have this in their bag because it's a very straight mid-range, and that is a Discraft Buzz. I think this is the most used disc in history, other than probably a Rock or a Rock 3. And this is probably the most comparable to a Rock or Rock 3. And frankly, I love the Buzz for a very simple, just upshot that I need to get through the woods, or even a very straight shot out on the course off the tee. Getting into my next one, I have a Buzz GT. Now this is something that's new to my bag. I haven't thrown it too much. I've thrown it for probably 2-3 rounds. I actually hit an ace with it at Todd Lewis's park a couple weeks ago. But I like the disc because it's got like a divoted brim to it, so it gives me something a little bit more to grip, and it's low profile and not very deep dish. It's got a very overstable finish to it, so I'll flip it to flat and have it just hyzer out back to the basket. So this is the last disc in my bag that is actually not Discraft, and if there is something out there that you guys think I could switch this out for within Discraft to have the same outcome and same finish, I would greatly appreciate it. So I have a West Side Harp in my bag, and this is something that my cousin has introduced to me, and he throws them phenomenal. He's got a very big mixed bag, and this is something that I wanted to try out, and I love them, but I would love to go all Discraft. I use this for a flick upshot for a very flat finish, and they just kind of glide and then sit, and that's why I have the Harp. Getting into my next mid-range, and this is more or less a putter, but nobody uses this as a putter. I have a Foundation Disc Golf 5-time McBeast Zone. This is probably the most used disc and most used mid-range out of my bag, or not even mid-range putter, because it has a very overstable finish. So if you flip it to flat, or you even throw it flat coming out of your hand, it's going to have a very hard finish off to the left. And this is more or less kind of like a oh crap kind of moment, like I need to get around something. So this is my go-to disc that I would use. But check out the stamp on this. Like, that's just absolutely gorgeous. Like, look at that thing. But I love the zones for overstable finishes and very tight corridor shots where I just need to have it flip to flat and then finish off really, really hard left. But that being said, so I have two discs in here that I have actually never thrown, but I hear great things about them, and it's probably something that's going to stay within my bag. I have a ESP Express and I have a ESP XL. Now I'm hoping that the XL is going to be the most, or the closest thing to that EMAC Truth that I was looking for recommendations for. But if there's something out there that you think is better, please let me know. But these are two discs that I have not actually thrown, so I'm not going to give any insight on them. But these are both in my bag, and they're fairly new. But I have not thrown them because of the winter days here in northern Michigan. It makes it a little bit tough to play. So these are both in my bag. I will definitely give recommendations on how they fly in the future. Okay, so getting into the next one. So this next one is a Proto Onyx. This is a 10-speed fairway driver. I like to use this for very simple, easy, straight shots that have a hard finish left, or I will use it as a flick Anheuser S-line, slower speed, so when it comes down it crashes and sits. But I have a Proto Onyx. Getting into the next one. So this is probably one of my favorite discs in the bag. Coming up to my next one, actually. So it is a Discraft Raptor. This is actually a Paul Ulibarri Raptor. I believe there was only 200 of these made. I got this from the Michigan State Championship back in 2019. And I absolutely love it for a very shorter upshot, but faster speed where I needed to skip around something or I needed to cut really hard to the right. But a Discraft Raptor is in my bag, and I think it will always stay in my bag because these are great discs. So getting into the next one, I have 3 of the same discs in my bag, or 2 of the same, and then one is a different blend. It's actually not the Proto. So I have 2 Proto Kongs in my bag. One is 167, 169, and then one is 173, 174. I mainly throw Proto Kongs over the Zeus. They're a little bit more flat for me. I'm a forehand player dominantly, and I have a first run Big Z Zeus. And this is more or less for the long distance flick drives that I have. I love to just grip my finger into it, pull it, spin it, and watch it just do a big S-line and finish off hard right and stick. So I have 3 different ones. I got this weird kind of purplish green one, a pretty crazy swirly purple translucent weird crazy disc. I love this thing. I love the way it looks. And this is 174. And then I have the Big Z Zeus, the first run Zeus. I think it might be a Big Z, but I'm not 100% sure. But those are mainly my forehand discs, and I am a mainly forehand player. So those are my main distance drivers. I use those for Anheuser flexes and finish it out. I usually get anywhere from 300 to 350 for distance, and for a flick player at my level, I feel like that's pretty good. So getting into the last 2 discs, that actually is not in my bag. Where is it at? I'm going to put it in there right now because it usually stays in there. Okay, so the next one is a Discraft Thrasher. I use this for a flick or a forehand roller on certain holes. I actually use it for a roller for mostly everything until I break it in, and then I'll start backhanding it for up shots and off the tee, because I believe it is an 11 speed. I'm not sure, but this is a Valerie Jenkins Tour Series. Shout out to her. That's awesome for her to get in her own series. But I use this for a flick roller Thrasher. So getting into the next one is going to be a ESP Vulture. I like these for utility discs. This is kind of like a oh crap moment for a most likely a hammer coming out of the woods where it just flips and it's flat and then it skips on its top side and like moves forward. But I don't use this disc a ton off the tee. I use it more or less for up shots and kind of like oh crap moments. And that was an ESP Vulture. Getting into the next one. So this is probably the most utility disc that I have. This is a Discraft Titanium Flick. And I use this for thumbers for over the top if I have to. I don't ever flick it like it says on the name. Just because it's way too flat and the overstability on this thing is kind of crazy. So I use it more or less as a complete utility disc. I don't throw it off the tee. I don't throw it for up shots. I mostly use it for tomahawks in a really tight situation that I need to get my disc to go skinny. And that is a Discraft Flick. So if you guys have any recommendations for me to what I could change my putters to Discraft. I love the P3s. If you've ever thrown a P3, you know exactly how it feels and you know the consistency of the disc. I did order one of the new Paige Pierce putters. I'm going to test it out. It's Jawbreaker plastic, so I don't know how I will like it, considering I'm not a big Jawbreaker fan. But if it has a very grippy feel to it and it has a low profile brim to it with not a very large bead, then it might end up being my main putter. But also, the EMAC Truth, if you guys have recommendations for this, and the harp that I have in my bag as well. Please let me know what you guys think, because I would greatly appreciate it. I'd like to go all Discraft and potentially get on the Discraft Underground team, or potentially even play with Discraft here in the near future. But that was my 2020 in the bag, guys. I hope it's something you guys enjoyed. I kind of gave you some insight on kind of what I throw as a player, and what you guys might think would make me a better player. If you guys have stuff like that, let me know. I will throw my Instagram and my Twitter handle up on the screen for you guys, so you guys can follow me if you'd like. But that was my 2020 in the bag. I hope you guys enjoyed. Definitely leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't quite yet. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.